Coach Mack said there was a lot of hurt players in the locker room, and that was a good sign. Do you see a lot of that, a lot of hurt?
Yeah, that was the most emotional locker room that I've ever been in. You know, there were a lot of guys that were really hurt. You know, we fully expected to win that game. You know, we started fast and, you know, we just came up a little bit short, and yeah, guys were hurt. Guys felt, you know, played our hearts out. We played our hardest. Effort wasn't a problem. You know, we just got beat by a good team, and you know, guys really took it personally. And you know, the thing that I'm really interested to see and excited to see is the way that we're going to respond this week with the way that we practice in a few hours, and then the way that we respond on Saturday. But it's definitely good to see how bad it hurt.
How do you think you guys will respond?
I think that we're going to have a great week of practice. I think that's the expectation. You know, if we're just going to be upset about it and nothing's going to come from it, then it doesn't really mean a whole lot. You know, the tale of what kind of team we have, we're going to find out who we are from this adversity. You know, in the way that we respond this week and ultimately on Saturday. And I know that the guys in that locker room are up for the challenge, and I know I am too.
Zach on the right.
Austin, obviously, is it on?
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah.
You're struggling.
I know, man. Can't hear myself. Obviously, Saturday wasn't perfect, and there was a loss. But for you personally, did it feel good to just have the performance that you did, and just the way that you played, especially throwing the ball?
Yeah, I think it was important to start fast. You know, I was comfortable. I felt like I saw the field really well. I felt like I was on rhythm. The offensive line kept me clean for the most part the entire game, especially in that first half when we were able to get open and hit guys. You know, it was a blast just to get out there and play. You know, you miss playing, and you know, to go into that environment and get a chance to play it was awesome. I felt comfortable from the first snap to the last snap, and you know, the biggest jump in any team and in any individual is always from that first game to the second game, and you know, I'm excited for this week.
And then as far as the second half struggles, you know, McElwain said just the way that the play clock ran down some, was that an issue that maybe hurt the offense some, of just trying to get everything right, play clock running down, and is that something to improve on?
Well, I think in the second half you're trying to shorten the game, so you want to get deep into the play clock, so the players are getting it sent in a little bit later so we could try to chew it up. You know, that's just part of the game management. You know, when they started to get a little bit of momentum and the crowd turned up, obviously you've got to do a better job communicating and getting guys lined up early, and then you can do everything that we need to take care of at the line of scrimmage, you know, from a logistics standpoint, to make sure everyone's on the same page for the play. You know, we're 100% behind that we gotta, you know, get lined up, and then we can go from there. We gotta communicate much better, and you know, we'll get better.
Was that part of the issue in the second half, you think?
As far as
Just about getting lined up and getting the call in?
yeah, I think anytime you go on the road, is our first time going on the road and experiencing any sort of crowd noise. You know, that's going into a place like that, which is obviously a very loud place to play. You know, you got to do a great job of communicating. I think that, you know, we didn't have any mental errors. You know, guys were in the right places. There weren't any really big mess ups. Early in the game, we had to burn a couple timeouts, just because one time I think the headset came out and we couldn't get the play in at all. You know, which it happens at a place like that. And then, you know, there's some other things, but I think all in all, we did a really good job handling the noise. Now we got to do a better job sustaining drives and making those key plays when we need them. You know, we kind of got caught on some third downs, a lot of third and long situations. It doesn't matter who you're playing, third and long is hard. And we got to do a better job on early downs, you know, getting ourselves into third and manageable, so where we can do run or pass and we can open our whole playbook up. When it's 3rd and 10, you know, you're pretty, you know, it's pretty one-dimensional. And we got to do a better job on early downs, and that's just executing, and we'll get better.
Mark on the left.
Mac has some concerns about the early start time, noon. How does that affect you guys, you know, and how do you get prepared for something like that?
I don't know, I mean, you get up early and you play. Where I came from, we played at noon a lot. So, I mean, you wake up early and you get going. I don't know, I mean,
So you might have an advantage.
I would hope so. I mean, this is a new team. I wasn't here last year. I don't know what that team was like. I know what this team is like, and you know, I don't think it matters what time we play at. I know I've heard of some of the struggles maybe last year playing at noon. We haven't had the best of luck getting up and getting going, but I'm sure that Coach Mack will have something up his sleeve to create some adversity, to make it uncomfortable this week, getting us up early for a lift or whatever, some meetings just to get guys going. You know, he talks all the time about starting fast. The way we start practice, we start fast with our fastball period. You know, and that'll be the point of emphasis, I would imagine, this week. And you know, we'll be ready to go. If we're the team that I think we are, we'll start and we'll be ready to go at noon.
Brian in the back.
Last week you mentioned that you had played in some big-time environments like Penn State, Nebraska. How did they compare to what you saw on Saturday in Neyland Stadium?
Crowd noise is crowd noise. And in my opinion, this is for me, when you're in that kind of noise, it almost dials you in more because it's so loud and you can't, you know, you can only focus on what you can focus on. You can't focus on anything else. You can't hear anything else. So it dials everyone in my opinion. You got to really know your stuff. You know, you got to be able to get communicated, make your calls, and then you play. Yeah, that place was electric, especially in the second half when they started to get some momentum. Their fans got behind them, and you know, all credit to them.
And speaking of the second half, when it became apparent that the game was slipping away, what was the mood like on the sidelines?
I thought we were totally dialed in the whole game. I didn't feel like, you know, we got complacent or relaxed or anything. I mean, they started making some plays. They're a good football team. You know, we had some plays that we left out there, and we're going to grow from it and get better at it. You know, I truly believe that the better team didn't win on Saturday. But you got to take your hats off to Tennessee. They're a really good football team, and they won the game. So.
Ryan up front. Right.
Building off Zach's question, just your first time leading this offense in a game on the field, how did you feel you did with making calls at the line and audibles and just reading stuff?
Sure. I mean, you kind of mentioned it earlier. When you know your stuff, when you study the game plan and you know your job, it makes it a lot easier to affect the guys around you in a positive way. And I think, you know, all in all, you know, I was prepared. I tell you guys, I prepare like a starter, whether I am or not. You know, when you're ready for your opportunity, you go out and just play and have fun. It wasn't the first time being out there. I don't think I was nervous. You know, I felt like I had poise from the first snap to the last. There's definitely some things I wish I would have had back. You know, I missed a couple balls, and you know, I think with any film, when you go back and watch, you can nitpick yourself, especially after a loss. You know, we go win the game. I think a lot of things, you know, slip away to where, you know, they might not get talked about, from the quarterback position to, you know, offensive line to receivers to defense to special teams. When you lose, everything gets put under the microscope because you're trying to figure out what the heck happened. And it might be a blessing in disguise, you know, to have it happen early. Now we'll know, hey, we can't, you know, we got to keep our foot on the pedal at all times. We got to pay attention to those details, and you know, we got to bring a certain level of our standard every single snap, and it can't slip.
And then Coach mentioned that Luke was very involved in working with you during the game, and that's one of the reasons he wanted him dressed. What were your conversations during the game? And also, I know he spoke to the team afterward.
Sure, we got a great relationship. He and I support each other as good as any quarterback that I've ever been with, and he's a great teammate. He wants to win, and I think, again, I've said it before, I'm sure he said it, doesn't matter who's in there. We want to win, and we're going to support each other because we see the big picture. If there's division in the quarterback room, there's going to be division in the locker room, and there's not that here. We want to win a championship. So we support each other to the fullest. Our conversations are great on the sideline. He's looking for things. You know, he's giving me, you know, tips and letting me know what he sees out there. You know, talking about, hey, we got a chance to go deep on a corner. Or, you know, hey, they're starting to, you know, blitz you, or whatever it may be. That conversation is the same thing that I give to him the first 3 weeks. That's what, you know, that's what a guy that's in your position that can see some things that maybe not other guys can see, and, you know, have a perspective that is similar to yours. You know, it's awesome to have. He's great. And, you know, there were a lot of guys in the locker room that were talking. Again, there was a lot of emotions. You know, there was a lot of our leaders stepped up. You know, there were a lot of tears in that locker room. and the things that were said in the locker room will stay in there. But I'm really, really encouraged by the way that we reacted, that it wasn't okay. You know, it wasn't just a loss. It looked like we lost the national championship. That's what it felt like. It hurt. And you know, what I'm excited to see is the way that we respond, and I'm confident we will the right way.
Edgar on the left.
Was the deep ball just not there in the second half? Because the first half, I mean, you guys were torching them deep.
I think when you're in 3rd and long, it limits what you can do. You know, the game plan didn't change at all. It was just some of the execution stuff. We got to be better executing on early downs and keeping ourselves out of 3rd and long. And then once the crowd gets into it, the pass rush heats up, and they played with a lot of energy in the second half. Hats off to them. You know, we got to control what we can control. We got to clean up. We know when I watched it, it looked like it's one block, where it was, you know, just a fingertip away, or, you know, just working up to a linebacker. And then we were going to gash some of these runs like we did early. And, you know, that's just pushing the tempo, pushing our standard that every single play we got to, you know, do what we do to the best of our ability.
And you were admittedly disappointed by the coach's decision, you said last week, on the quarterback competition this summer. Do you feel this is an opportunity to rekindle the competition and to maybe give them pause, you know, when Luke does come back healthy?
I don't count my reps, I make my reps count. I don't control those things. What I control is my preparation this week, my week of practice, the way that I affect my teammates in a positive way. You know, go out there and, you know, be the most prepared quarterback in the country and try to help the Gators win a game on Saturday. What happens after that is not in my hand at all, but, you know, I would like to at least put some pressure on and be the quarterback for this team. I think I am. You know, I didn't come here not to be. But again, that's a question for Coach Mack, and hopefully my play takes care of itself.
Any final questions, guys? All right, thanks.